Hey everyone, and welcome to Release Kickoff for Milestone 16.3. My name is David DeSanto, and I lead product here at GitLab, and I will also be your host today on the live stream. I'm joined today by some of the members of our awesome product team. They are, in the order they'll be presenting, Dylan Orino, Senior Product Manager, will be providing updates for our enablement section. Melissa Ushakov, Group Product Manager, will provide our updates for the dev section. Sam Light, Group Product Manager, will be providing updates for the SEC section. Jackie Porter, Director of Product Management, will be providing updates for CI and CD. And Taylor McCassin will be joining. He's Group Product Manager to provide updates for the data science section. At GitLab, we're focused on delivering value iteratively. That was a big word for me this morning. With a focus on our FY24 product investment themes. They are, first, provide a world-class DevSecOps experience. This is focused on providing first-class usability, additional collaboration capabilities, and AI-assisted workflows. We want to also provide advanced security and compliance capabilities by adding depth to our ultimate offering and bringing software supply chain security to the forefront on how customers build their software. We also want to bring analytics, observability, and feedback into our DevSecOps platform, empowering organizations to close the SDLC loop with user data. And finally, GitLab for Data Science is about enabling data scientists, data engineers, and everyone who's doing data science workloads within GitLab, giving all of those users the same benefit their counterparts have with DevOps, including collaboration, reproducibility, and streamlined deployment into production. Before I hand it over to Dylan, we have a short public service announcement. I think I've said this enough, I could probably do it without reading it, but I'll read it just so I don't miss anything. So on this live stream, we will be discussing our product roadmap, which includes upcoming features and functionality. It is important to note that this information is being provided for informational purposes only. Please do not plan your purchasing or any planning decisions based off the data we discussed today. We plan very ambitiously here at GitLab, and all details on this live stream are subject to change. The timing of any products, features, and functionality remain at the sole discretion of GitLab. Okay, so now to make this live stream a lot more fun, I'm going to hand it over to Dylan to kick things off.
Sounds good. Thanks, David. Go ahead and share my screen here. So for enablement today, I'm planning for 16.3. We're mainly going to be focusing on our world-class DevOps experience and maintenance work. As usual with enablement, supporting much of the backbone of GitLab. So moving on to global search, we would like to start off with our Zookt production rollout. Hopefully I'm saying that right. Zookt, as a reminder, is more complete search results more quickly as sort of our next iteration for code search here at GitLab. And the internal support for private projects is one of the main planned items for 16.3. And also many of the items and issues to lead into the opt-in beta. So basically we're hovering around here for private project support and moving into our opt-in beta in the next few milestones. So many of the issues leading up to this opt-in beta are going to be completed in 16.3, which we're very excited about. Moving into our application performance team, we are working towards iteration 2 of code suggestions for self-managed. So each iteration of self-managed code suggestions, we intend to improve the capability and experience for our users. And in 16.3, our main focus is going to be removing the need for self-managed admins to perform any configuration on GitLab SaaS. So this would keep the self-managed instance in the flow of control without having the need to perform any kind of configuration for GitLab.com. So moving on to Geo, Geo's main focus for 16.3 is silent mode. So silent mode has a couple cool benefits. One of the main ones is providing the ability to block outbound communications from an instance. So in this case, it supports disaster recovery and allows for comprehensive testing for these processes. So if organization is trying to test their backup and recovery and disaster recovery processes, they can use silent mode to test and see how the process is working. This also allows for restoring a GitLab instance from a geosecondary or a step in that iteration. Moving on, in the same thread of improving backup and restore, we are looking to improve the documentation for self-managed customers. So the key point of the effort here is we want to have more of a runbook style docs for this process. And we get a fair amount of questions from customers about doing backward restore or tips and tricks to allow their instance to scale better for larger data sets. So a lot of great work here for backward restore. The last item here for Geo is the GA of runner acceleration with unified URLs. So the main takeaway from this one is this effort will reduce the load on primary site and allow runners to retrieve data from the secondary. So this performance increase is important for the ease of management of these instances, especially larger instances. Stepping through to our tenant scale team, we are working on self-managed support for decomposition. And then the big piece of work here, which is a similar theme from last milestone, is working with self-managed being decomposed with 2 databases. So right now this is possible, and working towards 17.0, this will be mandatory. So the key takeaway here is this is a long-term effort. So doing the work now is very important to ensure that it can be rolled out for our next major release. The main focus for 16.3 is allowing the process for safe migration to these databases, and also allowing the docs to be more clear on this process. So beta to GA is kind of the step we're at here. Finally, the next piece of tenant scale work is the next iteration for cells. So in iteration 2, users can create a group on like the second cell while users are shared between cells. Cells in general as a project, as a reminder, is a new architecture for SaaS to be more scalable and provide more features. Moving on to Gitaly, a huge implementation that we're working on right now for Gitaly is implement write-ahead logging. So Gitaly's been working on disaster recovery experience for the last couple of milestones, and this will support the ability to use write-ahead logging for improving the Gitaly backups. And so this also supports the next phase of migrating to a decentralized architecture based on Raft, migrating from Prefect. Another key item in support of backward disaster recovery and backward restore is server-side backups. So server-side backups is going to be NBC or working towards NBC in 16.3, and this supports our extended value to our backup experience for self-managed customers. Finally, moving into database, there's 2 similar threads from last milestone. So many of these projects, a similar theme of extended timelines and multiple milestones is partitioning strategies and table ownership. So partitioning is an effort in reducing the table sizes as a whole here at GitLab. And right now we're working on GitLab.com, and in the future we'll lead this into our self-managed instances as well. So we want to ensure that there's sort of parity between the 2 databases. The next thing here related to the same initiative on keeping parity between our self-managed and .com database architectures is working towards the key exhaustion problem for GitLab.com to further support scalability, and we'll continue to work on this effort. And finally, rounding it out with distribution, we're supporting our production readiness for the operator. So we have a number of items for getting the operator ready for production. This is a key effort in the future of how we want to deploy cloud native GitLab. So the operator is a big piece of that. And finally, we are going to be releasing, the title here is multi-architecture images, but the main focus is releasing support for ARM images for cloud native GitLab. So ARM images are very important as the market is growing for ARM64 based computing. And hopefully we'll release those images in 16.3. That is everything for enablement.
All right. Hi, everyone. I'm Melissa, and I'm representing the dev section. And I've got a lot of really great updates for you in the themes of world-class DevSecOps experience, that's security and compliance, and observability, analytics, and feedback. The first item I'll highlight is around our remote development capability with GitLab Workspaces. We're continuing to build support for cloning private repositories in a workspace. So we're going to do this by allowing credentials to be securely injected during the creation and operations to be performed without needing additional authorizations. So this will expand this feature to be able to be used for a lot of more use cases. The next one is a quality of life improvement. We're going to work to allow many code owners files. If you're part of a really large repo, you can have a lot of different code owners and that file grows really fast. So this capability would allow that file to be split up into different subfolders so teams can manage their own areas rather than having to update one really large file. So it'll make administration a lot easier. And these were the updates in our world-class DevSecOps experience. Moving on to advanced security and compliance. We've got more updates coming to our capabilities for advancing our permissions and the way roles are managed. So for this milestone, what we'll do is we'll allow membership management to be its own set of permissions that can be applied to more than just owners. So today in a group, you have to be an owner to be able to manage who's in it or not in it. This capability will now be able to be granted to other roles. So you'll essentially be able to tailor your permissions for what your organization needs. Also in the theme of security, 2 updates to allow basically a notification to be sent out when a token is expiring for an email webhook, and then also for a project access token. So these are, not only quality of life improvements, but a lot of really critical processes will rely on tokens. So it's great to receive a notification, especially now that all tokens have a 1-year expiry date. The last item that I'll highlight is an observability, analytics, and feedback, and it's for our value stream dashboard. If you haven't checked it out, I encourage you to. There's a lot of great data in there and more coming. So we will be adding a panel that we're calling the DORA Performer Score. And what this does is that it will segment all your different groups into different categories of high, medium, low, depending on your DORA score based on industry standards. So you'll be able to get a really great quick overview of how your organization's performing against industry standards. So that's it for the dev section. Now I'm passing it on to Sam.
Thanks, Melissa. In SEC, all of our features are focused on the advanced security and compliance theme. Within that, I'm really excited to talk about our Explain This Vulnerability feature, which has been out as an experiment up to this point. So far, you've been able to come into a vulnerability and try out our Explain This Vulnerability feature, which will generate an AI-generated explanation of that vulnerability. We've been working to add some additional features, such as viewing the prompt or providing feedback. We're also working to add in some other checks to make sure that we provide an additional warning if you have a secret that might be in the prompt that could potentially be sent to the AI, so that you have a chance to review that before it's sent. With those changes, we plan on advancing this from experiment to beta here in this 16.3 milestone. Also in SEC, we're working to add some additional more granular permissions on top of our custom permissions model. So these permissions are designed to allow users to create a security role within an organization where they would be able to give security teams the least privileges required to do their job. Some of these have actually already been implemented. Others are in progress. We're planning on making further progress on this during 16.3. One big theme that we've been working towards within Govern is top-down security and compliance. And we've been working on a group-level dependency list, which we released for self-managed behind a feature flag in 16.2. We're taking that dependency list and we plan on enabling that feature flag by default during 16.3. Also for top-down security and compliance, we plan on adding some additional filters to users' instance level streaming audit events. So in the past, they would just have to send all of their audit events out. That can get really, really noisy quickly. And so we plan on letting users choose exactly which events they want to stream out to their external logging system. And then within security policies, we plan on adding a few additional filters, including filtering by attribute and filtering by age. So again, in terms of top-down security and compliance, they can manage these policies to trigger only on the criteria that they require and to reduce that additional noise for themselves. In terms of improving the merge request security widget, we have some really big under the hood changes that we have planned for 16.3. As far as our scan result policies go, we're working to reevaluate the logic. So instead of just comparing the latest pipeline for a given branch, we're actually looking across different types of branches to make sure that we get all of the different security scans that may have been included there. This is important because some customers run scans on different types of pipelines, such as merge request pipelines or branch pipelines or scheduled pipelines. And the latest pipeline may not contain all of the required security scans. So by looking across all of these types, we're able to provide much more accurate results. Also, we're working on continuous vulnerability scanning, and we plan on releasing this for dependency scanning in the 16.3 release, with additional follow-ons in the future for container scanning. This continuous vulnerability scanning is going to allow us to keep those vulnerabilities always up to date for any dependency scanning advisories. And that's going to also improve the results in that merge request widget and also give users a real-time view of their vulnerabilities without having to rerun a scan to refresh the results. Also, in terms of dependency scanning, we're planning on adding support for Java 21, which is a long-term support version. And lastly, in terms of simplifying security scanning, we're working on bringing our security results into the web IDE, starting with Visual Studio Code, by allowing users to view the vulnerabilities that have been detected in the latest run pipeline, and also click on those and view the details of those vulnerabilities. And with that, I'll be handing it over to Jackie.
Wow, Sam, I'm really excited to see the improvements on the audit stream events. I know that's going to be a big help to some of our users. It's exciting. So as a quick introduction, my name is Jackie Porter. I'm the director of CI section, and I'll be kicking off for the CI and CD sections. The three stages that are contained within these sections are verify, package, and deploy. We have a bunch of super investments planned in 16.3. As a blanket statement, not all of the work is included in here, so please take a moment to dive into the direction pages and check out what all the work that these groups are doing. The core theme that we'll be working on in this release is world-class DevSecOps experience, where we have several teams making some great improvements. From our package stage, our package group will be working on group access token support for dependency proxy. This is a frequently requested feature and will also help new team members onboard into dependency proxy, which is an area of investment that we're looking for in this year. So this will be a great competitive feature set that we are expecting users will love. Second, from our pipeline security group, we have two great enhancements this milestone to improve the usability of variables and help reduce your frustration and wasted time debugging or even searching for variables. The first of this is adding pagination for inherited group variables to the table. So in this issue, it'll be implementing key set pagination so you can easily see where group variables are in a particular project or group or used across a pipeline. And we're also going to be updating the pattern and sequence for adding and editing variables. Today, this is a very frustrating experience for our users because there is no logical task flow associated with these particular variables when adding them. So the fields are placed in different places, and we've gotten lots of feedback that they wish this was easier to use. So we're very excited about making that a little bit more usable for our end users. Our pipeline execution team is also focused on usability this milestone by adding help text on allowing users to easily debug unit test failures from a job artifact. And then we're also going to be highlighting a particular log line when a hash is present in the URL. This will help improve connections between testing outputs, job logs, and artifacts, helping people to make decisions about their job failures. This was some feedback that we actually got from conducting our usability benchmark and verify. Both of these issues are sus impacting, meaning they are usability drains on users since they're not working particularly well. So we're excited to ship those fixes. From our deploy stage, our environments group is going to be working on a Flux sync status in the environments page. So when you're implementing a GitOps workflow, you're going to be going to the environments page to see how your deployments are going. And this is where the Flux sync status is going to be. It's going to be a great enhancement to visualize your workflow in the same place as your other deployments in GitLab. Our second theme that the CI/CD section will be contributing to is advanced security and compliance. This is where the team, Pipeline Security, is beginning to test some hypotheses around GitLab native secrets with a POC. So here we're implementing a GitLab secret storage, and it's been a competitive feature set that people have been asking for to be built inside of GitLab for years now. So we're excited to begin exploring what this will look like. Again, this is by no means a comprehensive set of what we're working on in the CI/CD sections, but that wraps it up. I'll pass it over to Taylor to cover data science.
Awesome. Thanks, Jackie. My name is Taylor McCaslin, and I'm our group manager for our data science section. And today I'm going to take you through a variety of different areas related to this. Our data science section is focused on improving insights from data. We'll start talking about anti-abuse. I'm not going to talk about specifics here. Our product theme for anti-abuse is observability, analytics, and feedback. We are in the process of rolling out identity verification on GitLab to reduce platform abuse and spam. I'll give you just two quick previews of that. One is email verification. There is phone number verification. We're doing this intelligently based on your risk profile, which is a dynamic score that we associate with user profiles. We try to minimize as much of this as we can for most users. But if you are detected as a risky account, we'll put you through this additional verification to protect other users of the platform. We're doing other things on anti-abuse to protect the platform. I won't go into specific details there, but we're always improving the stability of the platform. Next, you've probably heard about GitLab Duo. This is our suite of AI capabilities powering your workflows within GitLab. Our theme here is world-class DevSecOps experience. Our GitLab Duo includes about a dozen features today that span across a variety of different experiences. Because we have many different capabilities here, we are focusing on standardizing a UX pattern for giving feedback. What this will look like is essentially standardizing so that you can provide feedback that we can use to improve the models that power all of these AI experiences. This give feedback link will now allow us to have more structured feedback about the quality of these AI responses and allow us to capture that data so that we can improve these models over time. We're also going to be analyzing the quality of the response. We have already started collecting some of this feedback information and are using that to tweak the prompts and the way that we call all of these AI models. Also, we're in the process of releasing our first iteration of the GitLab Duo experience in our VS Code workflow extension. So some of these capabilities will come to our IDE extensions. We are rapidly accelerating our plans to bring all of these AI capabilities to IDE extensions. Next, let's move to Code Suggestions. Code Suggestions is now fully using Google Cody AI models. We're using the foundation models from Google. There's a variety of these different models. You'll see here that there's a variety of different token limits for all of these AI models. We're now in the process of being smarter about how we leverage all of the input and output tokens that we get from these AI models. So we pass data into these AI models and they give us back responses. We want to maximize these input tokens as best as possible. So we're going to be doing that by improving the way that we truncate prefixes and suffixes. The way to think about this is as you're typing code, when you're in a code block, we want to make sure that that whole code block gets put into that context window so that the model has the full context of what code you're trying to complete. We're also working to highlight the most relevant parts of code around the cursor. So as you're typing, if you're calling different functions that may be defined in other files, we want to dynamically pull those in so that the AI model has full context of how you're trying to code. We are also working to improve the way that we manage the different context windows and the different AI models that power this experience. We're now ensembling these models to call different models when we have different experiences that happen. So think about this when you're in the middle of a code block and you're trying to complete the middle, when you're at the bottom of a file trying to write a brand new function, or in a completely blank new file altogether. We're going to change and manipulate the different models that we're using here. We are also working on sending multiple files. Today, Code Suggestions sends the current open file in your IDE. We want to send multiple files so that it has more context of all of the different files that you're working on in your current workspace in your IDE. We're also working to add filters to stop requesting suggestions. So if you don't accept suggestions in a certain code block, we'll just stop trying to autocomplete for you so that that can be a more delightful experience and let you and not break you out of focus as you're trying to write code. So that's a quick overview of how we're trying to maximize the context windows for these generative AI models. And all of this is focused on improving the world-class DevSecOps experience of GitLab. And with that, I'll hand it back to David to wrap us up.
Thanks, Taylor, and thank you all presenters for another great kickoff call. I just want to grab some highlights of what I saw. Now, I will say everything was my favorite, so don't think these are just the only ones I care about. But when we're talking about world-class DevSecOps experience, Jackie did a great job touching on the Flux improvements and that showing up in the environment page. Very excited about Flux in general for GitOps. Group access token support for the dependency proxy. Creating workspaces for private repositories. Nice improvement to our remote development. Improved code search with a new backend service. And then Taylor just touched on improving code suggestions quality, as well as improvements to GitLab Duo chat. From a security compliance standpoint, very excited to see the POC and the results of that for secret storage. The ability to manage group users for the group maintainer. Also great to see improvements to that as well. Continuous scanning capabilities for dependency scanning and scan results showing up within VS Code. I know that's been a long requested item. Very excited to see that happen as well. For observability, analytics, and feedback, the continued improvement to the Value Streams dashboard and having a new panel there is also very exciting. And then lastly, just a couple of highlights around the maintenance work that Dylan touched on. Very excited to see the continued growth of cells and being able to create a group within the cell, being able to have server-side backups via Gitly, and then the continued improvements to the GitLab operator so we can use it for additional use cases. As Jackie said very well, this is just a small list of everything the teams are working on, so please make sure to check out the release kickoff page for a full list of items. Also, feel free to comment and engage with the team. I can't stress this for everyone who's not a GitLab employee watching this. Our PMs love talking to customers, so please engage with them on the issues. You can thumbs them up, you can ask a comment, whatever you want to do, please do it. So again, thank you for watching the release kickoff, and everyone have a great day.